So it's been almost 2 weeks since I posted our last video. And like I said in the previous video, it's going to be every 2 weeks just because of how busy my schedule is and Scott's. Just been working about 10 hours a day, working weekends. And the corporate world can be very toxic. And I'm kind of getting my first look at that. Um, just been feeling mentally really low. I go up to the bar and I question everything. And sometimes I'm like, I just don't even want to do this. And just been getting in my head with my lifts. This was a really tough deadlift day for me, which it should have been easy. Me and Scott this morning, he was asleep, and I felt bad because he works so hard during the week, and there's heat advisory, and he's still out there having to work, and it's not just like a normal blue collar job. Like he's laying on his back, laying on his stomach, so his body is really going through it, and he just didn't want to wake up this Sunday for lifts, and took me an hour to wake him up. So I felt bad about that and just kind of took that into the gym. I was exhausted by the time I got to the gym mentally, just from kind of questioning everything. And the lifts showed these lifts I've done plenty of times, and they felt absolutely horrible. And with training, unless you're, I don't know, maybe some people can do this, but the lifting for me is just been going up and down. And then on top of that, our powerlifting gym, they were using the equipment for over a week for a competition. So the equipment was gone. So we had to go to LA Fitness to get some of our compound lifts in. And you can say I'm privileged, you can say I'm entitled, but I could not squat well at the LA Fitness racks. The rack height for me, I was either going to have to be too high or too low. And I decided to go too low, and it did affect my walkout. And you can see my stance is just really, really narrow. I was kind of afraid of slipping on the platform. So the squats for me, again, another bad session. Had some bench here also. Surprisingly, bench felt better. It was a deload for me, so I hit my bench numbers. These benches are like benching on an ironing board. Like they're just very, very narrow. Scott can't fit his whole back on the bench, so sometimes he slips off, and that's what happened on this next set of 315. His shoulder was slipping off. I'll let the rest of the bench play out, and then I'll come back in for our next lift. So on Sunday, we drove 2 hours to Flagstaff, and I still had to get my deadlifts in. So we found this It was more of like a CrossFit gym just to get some training in. They had actually 100-pound kilo plates, so Scott used that. They ended up not having chalk, so if you guys go there, just know they don't have chalk. Scott isn't in prep yet. He won't be competing until November. So you see him, he's just in the videos, just kind of lifting. He's not on program or anything like I am. This day I did wagon wheel pulls, which normally I do really well at, but the weight just felt way heavier than what it should. Um, didn't go as heavy as I wanted to, but I didn't cry this session, and pretty much every session I've been crying. Just with my job, it's just been mentally really, really rough. And sometimes you just feel like no matter what you do, it's just never good enough. And some people can just be like, oh, whatever. But with my personality, it's just really hard when you're doing the best you can and just not really getting any positive, too much positive like feedback, and just everything's kind of your fault. Just getting used to it. I'm about 8 months in, and it's been a tough transition, but I'm gonna push forward and work hard no matter what I do. So because of my job, it has been affecting my lifts. Just not confident. And what I've been noticing too with my deadlifts is that my stance is, I feel like it's too narrow. Just in the back of my head, I have that pulled hamstring where I feel like if I get too wide, it's going to pull again. But this narrow stance, I feel like I'm just not getting the leg drive that I need. And like this 405, I've done it a lot, but it didn't feel good. So I called it there, and then I actually moved on the bench. And I've lifted on an axle bar before, and I've lifted really well on it. The bar is thicker, it's supposed to help with your grip, but for some reason, I just lift better on it than I do a normal bar. And the one at my old gym, it weighed 95 pounds, I believe. And so I went in thinking that this bar was heavier than just a typical bar. I knew it wasn't 95 pounds, but I thought it was 55. So I was feeling good about myself because the deadlifts didn't feel well. And it kind of raised my confidence. But later, I actually asked the gym how much the bar weighed, and they said it was only 25 pounds. So it kind of killed me because here I am thinking I'm lifting 25 pounds more than what I am. But that just shows you how my body's feeling right now. The weight just feels heavier than what it should be. This was just a bad week of lifts all around. I hope you'll stay tuned because next week's lifts do go better. And I really appreciate the support. And I'm 6 weeks out from my competition.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.